Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in my quaint little studio. Joining me in studio today, I got Ray Ora.
Yeah.
Jonathan Voico.
All right.
Chris Carr is here.
Hooray!
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address on the show, and as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and throw it on in to our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And the good news about that tip link is that it's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to this show on our podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice, you can still send in a question. Or if you're watching the show a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question and we'll just get around to answering it on our next episode. Also, in case you guys weren't around yesterday, I want to remind you of a little announcement we made yesterday. There's something that's going to impact the show, but there's another show. Starting on Monday, you guys know I started a separate YouTube channel where I can put up some sports thoughts, where we are going to be doing a daily sports show called Filthy Sports over on the Filthy Sports channel. Just go on YouTube, search for Filthy Sports, go and subscribe to the channel there now. And that show will be on 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. That's 1 p.m. New York time. Now, what that means for the John Campea movie show is that we are moving the movie show to later in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Los Angeles time or 5 p.m. New York time. I had been given some thought to moving the time of the John Campea show anyway, because we're still finding that a bunch of stories drop while we're doing the show live. So hopefully this will give us a little bit more coverage on that. So that all starts Monday. And we hope that if you're a sports fan, you'll be joining us for both shows. All right. With that down and out of the way, guys, let's get on to this, shall we? It's October, brand new month. And there are a bunch of movies coming out that I am personally looking forward to. Now, one of those movies was Joker Folie à Deux, which sucks ass. So it's not going to be on my list here of the most anticipated movies of October for me. We'll talk a little bit more about Joker 2 a little bit later in the show when we do our non-spoiler review of it. So Joker 2 is not on my list anymore of the movies that I'm really looking forward to in October. But there are a bunch of movies coming out, and I thought we should take a minute and talk about the 5 that I'm most looking forward to. Now, one of them was going to be that. Obviously, that Joker's not there. I want to give one honorable mention. It's a low-budget little horror film, but I think it's getting a wide release, called All You Need Is Blood, about a young kid in grade 8 or grade 9 who dreams of being the next Steven Spielberg, and he wants to become a big famous director, and he realizes, you know what? A lot of famous directors got their start in horror. And it just so happens that he came to that epiphany after his dad became a zombie, and decides to use his zombie dad in his horror movies. It looks very low budget, but it looks really fun. So
it's like
what's that?
It's like a dark twist on Super 8.
What Super 8 should have been. What Super 8 should have been.
The
Take
best
notes,
part,
JJ.
The best part to me of Super 8 was their little mini film on the 8mm, you know, at the end.
Well, remember Super 8? J.J. Abrams had two ideas for two different movies. One, about a secret train leaving Area 51 that gets into a crash and a monster escapes from it. And then he had another idea for a movie about the joy of being a kid and dreaming of being a filmmaker and using Super 8mm to make movies. And he had lunch with Steven Spielberg. True story. And Steven Spielberg said, why don't you just make them both into one movie? And that's how we got the awful movie Super 8. But that aside, there are some good movies coming out in October that I'm looking forward to, some more than others. So let's go down 5 films that I think we should keep our eyes on for October, shall we? All right, starting at number 5, Smile 2. Now, granted, I was not the biggest fan of the first Smile, although a lot of people loved it. It got a big response. Probably the best guerrilla marketing campaign I've seen since Deadpool.
Oh,
that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the way they would plant people at Major League Baseball games sitting in the seats behind the plate just The women who
I
just
don't-
sit there with a smile plan, like they did
I
such a good
hated
job.
it.
I don't know how anyone could hold a smile for an entire game. That's like 3 hours.
I'm sure
oh my
they had some
gosh.
help.
Jonathan,
sure
I've been
they-
doing it for 37 years. Do you think I'm like this for real?
Like,
No.
all the time.
I'm miserable and filled with rage.
So I didn't love the first smile, though the concept is great. But I'm kind of all in on what's her name? Naomi Scott. On Naomi Scott. I am kind of all in on her. Like, I loved her in Aladdin, where she was a fabulous Jasmine. I really like her in just about I was first got turned on to her in her little Power Rangers movie.
She's great in that.
She
Yeah,
was
she's
great
in
in that,
Power
right?
Rangers.
She did a good job.
And again, she killed it in Aladdin. Absolutely killed it in Aladdin. And I even liked her in that horrible Charlie's Angels reboot.
She's still good in that too.
Yeah, that's how you know someone's good, right? When they stand out, even if they're in an awful movie. I've always liked her, and when I saw that she was going to be and she's going to get to show off her singing voice again, which is great because again, she has a killer singing voice. She is primarily first and foremost a singer. So even though I didn't love the first one, this one at least has my attention because Naomi Scott. All right, that's my number 5. My number 4 most anticipated movie this October is Monster Summer. And this looks like a cheap knockoff of a bunch of different things, but that's actually kind of part of it that's appealing to me a bit. It looks like the unholy baby of Goonies and Stranger Things mixed into one. I mean, it's clearly ripping off a lot of things from those two things, but I have to admit, when I saw the trailer in theater, I went, this looks pretty good. Like kids who goes missing, but then they return, but there's something really different about them when they return. And that's that one line in the trailer. There's monsters? It kind of got me. So while on paper, when I first heard about this film and I read the synopsis, I thought this sounds like a big ripoff of some other IPs. The trailer kind of sold me on it. And again, like I said, a nice mixture of Stranger Things and Goonies. I think it looks like it could be fun. We'll know when we see it, but that's why I'm looking forward to Monster Summer is my number 4 most anticipated movie for the month of October. In the number 3 spot, and man, there'd be a lot of months where this would be higher than number 3 on my list, but is the new Jason Reitman film Saturday Night. This looks baller. This looks so good. And I've been hearing from some people who have watched it at some festivals, and they're saying it absolutely crushes it. They're even saying it might get a little bit of Oscar love come Oscar season. Now, I am completely a Jason Reitman fanboy. Like whether you're talking about Up in the Air, or you're talking about Juno, or you're talking about Thank You for Smoking. I even really, really liked his Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was called Afterlife, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't so much on Frozen Empire, but
No one was.
But he didn't direct that one. Jason didn't direct that one. But I really liked what he did with that. I love Jason Reitman, of course, the son of Ivan Reitman, good Canadian kid. I'm a big fan of his, and this looks great. I remember when I first heard about it, it's like, really? A whole movie just about the opening night of Saturday Night Live. And then that trailer played. And when they had I was already completely digging it, but when they have the Chevy Chase character fall down and he gets up and goes, sorry, tripped over my penis. I mean, it had me, it got me. The casting looks great. I cannot wait. My number 3 most anticipated movie for the month now is Saturday Night. At number 2, this thing's going to win a lot of Academy Awards. Conclave. They first showed us the previews for this at CinemaCon back in April. And it's like, well, this looks really good. I don't know if it's going to get a wide release or anything. Well, now it's getting all the attention. And the early word is, you've heard me talk about this before, this man right here, Pope Voldemort. Ralph Fiennes, the man that I said, and I still contend this to this day, once Gary Oldman won his Academy Award for playing Winston Churchill, I said there is now a brand new greatest actor in the world who has never won an Academy Award, and his name is Ralph Fiennes. That continues to today, and I think that's about to change. From everything that I got to see the movie still myself, but from everything I'm hearing, a lot of people are already whispering, like in award circles, this may be Ralph Fiennes' year, finally. But it goes beyond Ralph Fiennes in this. Stanley Tucci's in it. Jonathan Lithgow's in it. The Tooch.
The Tooch is loose, as Ray says.
The Tooch is loose. Actually, and we read over Variety's report, both Lithgow and Tucci are two of their top 10 frontrunners to get Best Supporting Actor nominations as well. This looks crazy good. I cannot wait to see it. Conclave is my number 2 most anticipated movie this month of October. All right. That brings us to number 1, which is no surprise because it's me. Venom 3. I cannot wait for Venom 3 because screw all of you. I love the Venom movie.
I don't know why you get so, like, none of us have ever said anything bad about that.
No, not the three of you. Not the three of you, but whenever I bring up how good Venom is, I get deluged with people saying Venom sucks. That's fine. You feel that way, loser. I love the first Venom. I totally love the first Venom.
You don't
movie.
remember anything.
Like and subscribe.
You don't hold any grudges.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Movie opinions are objective,
Losers.
but also F you.
I know, damn losers. Why don't you freaking have some fun?
So the second one, not as good. Even I admit the second one wasn't as good, but I had fun with it. It was still good. And I think they're going to go out with a great bang on this third one. So I'm really excited about it. It was close. It was close between putting Conclave or Venom 3 at number 1. But if I wanted to come across as fake and artsy, I'd say Conclave. That's going to be the best movie. Conclave will be but I have to be honest with you guys. If right now Anne walked in the room and said they're playing Conclave and Venom 3 at the theater right up the street right now, which one you want to go see first? I'm probably going to go see Venom 3 first. So to recap, at number 5, Smile 2. At number 4, Monster Summer. At number 3, Saturday Night. At number 2, Conclave. And my number 1 most anticipated movie of the month is Venom 3. It's actually shaping up for me not to be a bad month.
Yeah.
Didn't start off well with Joker, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Chris, you've gone down the list of all the films coming out in October. We're in October now. This is your first show of October.
Yeah.
What are the 5 you're really looking forward to?
Ooh, we have some similar ones on our list because my number 1 is Saturday Night. I'm so excited about that. I am obsessed with Gilda Radner. I've read all of the biographies and memoirs and everything I can about her. I adore her. And so I'm very, very excited about this. I also have Conclave, mostly because of these performances. And also as a recovering Catholic, I am constantly just intrigued by the inner workings and minutia of Catholicism. And I also have Venom 3 on there. But my number 4 is Honora. And this is that one about the Brooklyn sex worker who has the Cinderella story opportunity.
Right.
All right.
I'm very excited about that one. That
You know what?
looks
Do you know
so
why I didn't put that one on my list?
Why?
And I think the only reason I didn't put it on, I think it's limited release.
It is.
Right. So
It
that's
is.
the only reason I didn't put it out there, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to have the chance to see it.
For sure.
But that looks great.
It looks so lovely. And then this is kind of a cheat. I know I put 2 streaming options on here as well to count as kind of my 5th movie. So 5th and 6th. I've got Brothers, which will get a limited release, but is also going to be on Amazon. That Peter Dinklage and
That's
Josh Brolin
Josh
one.
Brolin doing together.
That looks
so
and it's gotten
good.
great reviews.
It looks so fun.
I didn't
great
know.
reviews.
I was surprised. I remember we talked about that trailer because the first like 20 seconds of the trailer, I'm like, this looks stupid. And then the rest of the trailer got me on board. I didn't realize it came out this month.
It comes out that quickly, which
Wow.
is crazy. And then the other one is Netflix's Woman of the Hour, the Anna Kendrick directed film about the
That looked so
date
creepy.
gone wrong with the serial killer. I'm so excited about that. And that's the kind of movie too that I absolutely want to watch on streaming because I'm such a wimp. So I can just, have my blanket over me and scream and pause it and take a lap every time I need to. I think that movie looks so good and so creepy. So those are the ones I'm looking forward to.
I'll tell you, I feel just by watching the trailer, I've seen the movie. Not in the sense that we usually mean by that, where it's like, I feel like they gave everything away. I feel like I experienced everything in that trailer that the movie's going to deliver.
It's so visceral.
Oh my God, I was totally creeped out watching that.
It's I don't know if you guys have experienced this on a date before where you just have that moment of something's not right here and this person I need to get away from. And
What's a date?
What's a date, Ray? Come
What's
on.
a date?
Girls in trench coats are throwing themselves at you. You calm down. Let's not pull that.
But
all right?
sometimes they just don't feel like something's right with those. And what do they
With
got
those
on a
trench
trench
coats.
coat?
Exactly.
What are they trying to hide in it?
But
They're
Yeah.
trying to fight
capture
crime?
that feeling so great of, looking at a bartender and being like, I need help to get out of here. They did such a great job.
I'm gonna be
of
honest
doing
with you. 3 out of 4 people here probably have never experienced
Well,
it.
I don't want
But
to.
it could happen. It definitely
I don't
could
want to
happen.
assume just because of gender that you've never had that
No,
moment of
'cause
like, oh, this woman's nuts.
It definitely
you
has
know?
happened and can happen. It's just
Yeah.
normally it's the other way around.
For sure,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. But they capture that feeling so well. Oh my gosh.
One day I would like to have that feeling.
A feeling scared
Of
for
dread.
Oh, sorry.
On a
sorry.
date?
No.
I remember like there's something about that rings very true and at home for me because I can't even imagine what it's like for women, like in that sense. So like I'm so hyper sensitive about like if I'm out, if I got to walk to the store or something, and especially if it's at night, but even if it's in the daytime, if I'm walking home and I see on the sidewalk 200 yards away from me, there's a woman walking in my direction on the same sidewalk, I instantly assume she thinks I'm a threat. And I cross the street and I walk on the other side of the street.
That's so nice and that's so Canadian. Oh my
It's
god.
also just very, I must look, I'm a single guy walking along. I must look creepy as fuck to some people. So and this, like,
I just start
all of it
skipping.
comes to
Well,
fruition.
you need to stop walking like
That's
that.
the way to do it.
Even walking like this.
It's just the most unalarming
walking
thing
like
you
I'm,
can possibly
like I'm doing stabbing
all right.
motions.
I'd pick him over a bear.
Like
That makes
that.
sense.
What's it called? That Saturday night live skit where they're dancing with each other. Baby, don't hurt. You walk like that.
Oh yeah.
You walk like that, gyrating your man.
Yeah.
Man.
I
The night
walk
at
like
the Roxbury
Joker
Night.
dancing down the stairs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Or I
That might
walk
not
like
work.
That one.
Vince McMahon.
Oh, okay.
down the street. Now that's scary.
That one is terrifying.
Yeah.
Ooh, I watched Mr. McMahon.
I started it.
Oh.
I started it.
Oh, it's yeah.
Yeah.
How many episodes is there on that?
Six, I think six.
Oh, wow.
Maybe five. It's
Ooh.
short.
All right.
But anyway,
Okay.
guys, those are the 5 films that we are looking forward to the most in October. What about you guys? What are the films that you're looking forward to the most that are coming out this month? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, everybody knows at this point, but in case you haven't, HBO and Max are developing a Harry Potter series that each season is going to cover one book. Whereas the movies did one movie per book, the HBO series is going to cover an entire season. Each book will be covered in one entire season, which means they're going to be able to cover a lot of the stuff that didn't get covered in the movies and things like that. Now, at first, a lot of people, and even me to a bit, were a little bit skeptical. It's like, really? Like, why not do more Harry Potter movies instead of going back and rebooting the series? Of course, I don't think they'll ever be able to get Daniel Radcliffe or Rupert Grint or, Emma back, stuff like that. And that's fine. A lot of the cast has also passed away at this point.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But then there was a massive turnaround. They announced the showrunners, and it's like the top of the top best people in the business. We're talking about showrunners and executive producers of shows like Game of Thrones,
Succession.
House of the Dragon, Last of Us. Like, these showrunners and producers who were involved in making some of the absolute best television we've had in years came on board. And all of a sudden, a lot of us went, oh, like, they're really serious about this. Like, they are dead serious about this. And all of a sudden, the narrative started to turn. And now there's a few people actually starting, like myself, starting to get excited about this series. Actually, biggest Harry Potter fan I know, like psychotic, like actually the theme of their wedding was a Harry Potter themed wedding. Our friend, Olympic gold medalist Cody Miller, I was just talking to him on the phone like 2 or 3 days ago. He's crazy excited for this show. And he's the hardest of hardcore Harry Potter. He's the guy who, when I had a spare ticket to go see the Fantastic Beasts movie, he literally got on a plane and flew from Indiana to LA that day so he could go see the screening with me, and then flew back. Hardest of hardcore Harry Potter fans, and he's really excited about this show. Anyway, it looks like other people now want to get in on this Harry Potter stuff, including Comcast, who, according to a story in Variety, is suing Warner Brothers so they can partner with them on the Harry Potter series and other things. The basic principle here of this lawsuit is that Comcast, and mainly through their subsidiary Sky over in the UK, they claim they have a deal with Warner Brothers that allows them to partner on up to 4 different projects a year with them. However,
that's Comcast calling.
I'm expecting an important phone call, but that's not who it is, so I have to keep my phone on. Unfortunately, though, they were not invited to be a part of the Harry Potter series, and they want in. So they're all saying, nope, can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Now, Warner Brothers is saying they're just desperately trying to extend. This is all just a ploy on their part for renegotiating the deal. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter said this. In a statement, a spokesperson for Warner said that the disputed licensing agreements expire at the end of 2025, which is before the Harry Potter series comes out, and that the lawsuit is a baseless attempt by Sky and Comcast to try and gain leverage in its negotiations for our programming beyond that date. It added, we know HBO branded content shows are critical to Sky, as evidenced by their desire for over a year to find a way to renew our agreements. And this lawsuit makes it clear that Sky is deeply concerned, is deeply concerned about the viability of its business were it to lose our award-winning content. Now look, to me, the thing that is interesting about this is not 2 corporate giants fighting. That happens all the time. That's not really of big interest to me. What is of interest to me is what they're fighting over. And what started again, I just think the narrative of this whole new Harry Potter series has very gradually, but is very definitively changing. Again, from at first when it was announced to a lot of people going, oh, that seems desperate. Why are they doing that? That's weird. To over the course of just a couple of months now, with some big announcements and certain people getting involved and all that kind of stuff, the narrative of it has changed. And you're now definitely starting to feel some anticipation starting to build for this. So much so that now other companies are really wanting to get on board. I'm going to tell you this right now. There's no way in hell HBO co-produces this with Comcast.
No.
They're never going to allow that to happen.
Absolutely not.
And it might not even be what Comcast wants. It might be that Comcast just really wants the rights to be the network that carries it in the UK. But Max UK, which does not exist right now, will probably be up and online by the time this Harry Potter show comes out. And Sky wants to be the ones to distribute it, and they don't, and that's probably what this is about. But anyway, Chris, to me, the interesting thing here is about the momentum and the changing narrative about the Harry Potter franchise. What have you been feeling about that, and what does this story do, if anything, to change your perception of it?
I mean, the big thing that I keep focusing on this is that these agreements expire in 2025. So it just feels like this big Hail Mary move of trying to grasp at straws for relevance and getting some kind of little slice of that pie. It doesn't seem like it has any validity, but I don't know these contracts well enough to actually have like a firm stance on all of this.
Yeah, I haven't read them.
You know, I have no idea what's all in them. And as you guys know, I am usually not, oh, David Zaslav can do no wrong. I'm usually kind of the voice of dissent on this. But this is one where I go, oh, Sky, that's precious. I don't think you're doing what you're supposed to here, though. As far as this goes in regards to Harry Potter, though, I mean, it just also shows that people desperately believe that this is going to be a wonderful hit and that they want to be a part of it. And it still is a franchise that has some serious legs on it. So I absolutely understand why if somebody could get a piece of that, they would go after it. But honestly, I just don't know enough about the inner minutia of this to really weigh in too much. You know,
it's still crazy to me. Ann and I, we love going to Universal Studios Hollywood.
Same.
Especially, I mean, they're fabulous. They've got the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now they've got the Nintendo World, which is awesome.
It's so fun.
Have you had a chance to ride the Mario Kart?
Oh my gosh.
How fun is that?
I went and did early access. I love that thing so much.
It is so much fun.
It's
anyway,
so great.
I never cease to be amazed, even now in 2024, whenever we go there, like we're not even in the Wizarding World. We're just at Universal, even just downtown, Universal downtown, right? What do they call that area?
City Walk?
City Walk.
City Walk. Mm-hmm. Just down in City Walk. It is always with tons of people in Hogwarts robes. Always. In tons of, like, adults, kids, whatever, wearing their Hogwarts robes and all that kind of stuff. It is crazy in 2024 that is still there. And people still flock to Wizarding World. I'm not even the biggest Potterhead fan in the world. And I love going into the Harry Potter Wizarding World. They did such a great job making immersive. Way better. I like Star Wars Land at Disney. I do. I like Galaxy's Edge. I like it. They really could have learned a few things about the people who put the Wizarding World together, because that feels truly immersive. And like just how popular this whole IP continues to be. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? This Harry Potter show is coming. They even just recently announced their casting for it, for the kids that they're going to have grow up with the show. Do you feel the narrative of this going around? Maybe you've been all for this show right from the day they announced it. Maybe you're like some of the rest of us that kind of felt it sounded odd that they were rebooting the franchise in the form of a series. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about a couple things, including Penguin. Its ratings are way going up. Also, saw Joker 2 last night. Bloody awful film. We're going to talk about all those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Our friends at the Dollar Shave Club and Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Dollar Shave Club. Hello there, my fellow handsome gentlemen. Nice face you shaved there. Whether you're going smooth shaven or maintaining a beard, Dollar Shave Club offers shave and grooming products that are always high quality, but never overpriced. If you like to wet shave for that clean, close shave, they've got the Club Series 6 Blade Razor. A shave so comfy your skin will take a nap. 6 stainless steel blades for our closest and most comfortable shave, with a vitamin E infused lubricant strip for comfort and glide and precision trimmer for precise detailing. Their amazing shave butter, clear view, smooth glide, designed for precision. Shave butter is a translucent shaving cream alternative that allows you to see exactly where you're shaving. Bonus, it has long-lasting lubrication that helps soften whiskers for maximum glide and leaves your skin feeling hydrated. But don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself. You can visit their site right now for 20% off, $20 or more, and get your products delivered right to your door. Visit dollarshaveclub.com/Campea and use promo code Campea for 20% off, $20 or more. And remember, however you shave, Dollar Shave Club is here to help you stay handsome. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at the Dollar Shave Club and Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? The Penguin. Now, we gushed, of course, last week over that first episode. I mean, I was expecting the show to be good because the Batman was great. Colin Farrell's Penguin in it was a standout. And this whole idea, the trailers for the Penguin look great, like a real gritty kind of crime drama, Sopranos in the world of Batman. Looked great to me. But I wasn't prepared for how good that premiere episode was. It was outstanding. And its numbers reflected that. But we said, when we reviewed that first episode, and we talked about the big ratings they had, it's one thing to get big numbers for your first episode, i.e., Ahsoka had big numbers for its first episode and then went, The Acolyte had really respectable numbers for its first episode, and then the ratings did that. It's Obi-Wan, huge numbers. Didn't dip as bad, but they started to dip. It's one thing to have a show that has a big first episode. The question is always, what will episode 2 do? And what will episode 3? Will we see like WandaVision had, where the week after week after week, the ratings kept going up and up and up because the word of mouth got out about it. Everybody started jumping back on board and all that kind of stuff. And the numbers went up. Or like some of the shows we already mentioned, they started to tank after the first episode. What would Penguin do? Because just because it's a great show and the first episode was fantastic doesn't automatically mean people are going to flock to it. Penguin flock.
I get it.
I didn't even do it on purpose.
March
That's
of the
how
Penguins.
naturally, brilliantly funny I am.
Batman.
Well done.
So, well, episode 2 came out, quality-wise, right on par with the first one. It was so good. I loved episode 2.
It was number 2, but it weren't a stinker.
Well,
Disappointed in everyone today.
we got our numbers. According to Deadline, get this, from one episode to the next, the Penguin audience went up 17% just from episode 1 to episode 2. 17% just from episode 1 to episode 2. That's outstanding numbers. I don't even think WandaVision's rise, I don't even think it went that quickly. I could be wrong about that, but I think it grew like 10%, then like another 8%, then another 12%. Like I can't even remember if it jumped like from 17% from episode 1 to episode 2. Like that is crazy. And what does that tell us? It tells us a couple things. One, I think there's a part of that there are some people out there who always intended to watch the Penguin, just maybe never got around in the first week. I definitely think part of that 17% is those people who had always intended to watch Penguin, just maybe never got around in week 1 to start there. So that's fine. But I think the rest of that 17% is strictly word of mouth. I think that other 17% may be people who never intended to watch Penguin or were sort of maybe interested in it. Maybe they'll check it out. And then they heard from their friends just how good Penguin was. I had a lot of people write to me saying I wasn't really some people wrote to me saying I didn't really love Batman the way you did, and I wasn't going to watch Penguin, but I heard everybody talk about how great it was, including our show, and so I went to check it out and I loved it. I think that conversation has played itself out hundreds of thousands of times across the world after number 1. And that's the trajectory. Great opening week numbers are wonderful, but that's not what tells the story. What tells the story is this, or this. And this is what Penguin has given us. And here's the thing. I expect maybe not 17%, but I expect we are going to see a similar jump in week 3. Why? Because episode 2 was just as bloody phenomenal. It was, I cannot get over how, for a comic book franchise, how insanely acted this is. And of course, being a Sons of Anarchy guy, I love that we saw Theo Rossi in there.
Oh my gosh. I lost my mind over him. I was like, Juice? What?
Yes.
Why are you here?
Why do you have hair?
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's good in this.
And I have a feeling he's going to be nasty.
Oh, he's got such big bad potential.
Yes.
The emphasis on hypnosis, just everything about it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Isn't it appropriate for a therapist to grab and hold their client like that? I don't know.
No, but historically, Arkham psychiatrists have been pretty bad at patient relations.
Really? They're not so good?
No.
Yeah, check
Yeah. But it's just been so good. Again, another little twist, another little turn. And Chris, you weren't here yesterday, but one of the things that I mentioned I love about it so much is that a lot of movies and shows that try to feature a traditional villain, they make them very sympathetic. See, Morbius isn't all that bad of a guy. see, this person isn't that, like, Penguin, they're not ambiguous at all about it. This is a bad person. This is not a guy who secretly has a heart of gold. This is not a guy who's just misunderstood. He is a vile, bad person. But they still humanize him. He's a guy who loves his mother. Mm-hmm. He can have a sense of a connection to this kid. Like, they humanize him, but they never play, patty cake with the idea that he is still a viciously bad, awful person who will always act in his own best interest and will murder school children if he thinks he can get an extra buck. Yeah. And they do all that. And all that, I think, is going to lead to next week seeing even bigger numbers when they come out. Anyway, Chris, you see this spike in audience.
Yeah.
What do you make about it? Are you surprised by how big it is? What do you see the trajectory going? What do you think?
I mean, I am surprised just by the size of the jump, because that is a big leap forward. I do think a lot of people waited for that word of mouth and maybe binged these 2 episodes together and gave this a shot. And then that's why we see this kind of leap here. And I do think a lot of people do oh my gosh, Penguin, that's the show. That's what we're going to do. Another Batman show without Batman. Are you kidding me? But this is really great quality television. And to your point too, I never want a villain. No, I shouldn't say never. Sometimes I like a mustache twirling, I'm evil for the sake of evil villain.
If
sometimes
it fits
that's
the story,
fun.
yeah.
But I don't need to root for said villain and go, gosh, I understand his point of view. I only need my villain to understand their point of view. I only need them to be justified in why they're doing
Can I
the
repeat
things
what
that
you
they
just
do.
said? I love that.
Yeah.
I only need my villain to understand their point of view. I love that. That's
'Cause
great.
I just want them to have a clear-cut vision of why they're making those choices. But I, as the audience, don't need to go, you know what? We should introduce a new drug on the streets of Gotham. I get it. No, I need to just understand the methods to your madness, right? And I think that's what this show is doing so beautifully. And that's what you get a lot of times, too, with crime shows, mobster shows of, yeah, these are bad people doing bad things, but the ends to them justify the means. And this is such a great exploration of that. And I feel like this show is just going to keep getting better and better and better. I hope it is, at least, because it's so great so far. And I know I say it each week when we talk about it, but oh my gosh, Sophia Falcone is such a bananas character, and she's doing such a great job. I know we keep talking about how Colin Farrell just give him the Emmy already. Give her the Emmy. Holy shit, she is just a powerhouse, and she's terrifying.
She's great.
You know what the most genius thing they've done in this show is? The most genius thing they've done in the show is they unambiguously, this is a vile, evil person. Mm-hmm. But they still get us to root for him. Why? Because so far in the show, I think it's been deliberate that they're only, I have no doubt he would shoot school children to get $1. I have no doubt about that he's vile. But in the show, they're only showing us him doing terrible things to other terrible people.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying that last.
And so that creates a dynamic where we can clearly identify this is a bad person and yet also root for him. And that is a tricky wire to walk that they've able to get us to do
that
here.
Dexter thing.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is that he's going to move beyond that, because once he does become the kingpin of crime, he's going to start hurting innocent people.
Exactly.
And that's
And
maybe
you'll
when
root for his
Batman gets
downfall.
involved.
Then you're going to
Like,
get the slow stomp of Batman coming down.
yeah,
the
in a
hall.
season 2 or 3, if they get to that point, that's probably when they'll let Batman just stick his nose in. Hey, just remember, I'm here. That sort of thing. But I love. Unlike Transformers 1, that puts out a great movie and suffers badly, I love seeing great quality like The Penguin getting rewarded. Guys, question is for you. Have you started watching The Penguin yet? I love this show. I can't believe how good it is. And apparently, a lot of other people agree, because the series, its viewership ratings, are climbing at an insane rate. What do you think we're going to see in episode 3? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? What was easily amongst my most anticipated movies of October, hell, one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux, opened in to a special fan screening last night. There was a bunch of them across the country. A whole bunch of us got to go see it. I'm sure many of you at home got to go see it. I got to go see it last night with my wife, Ann. Now, just for some context, I absolutely passionately love the first Joker movie. I understand that's not a movie that's for everybody. That was reflected in both the critic and the audience ratings. The first one was for everybody. And I said, Joker 2 is not going to make nearly as much money because, again, the first one wasn't for everybody. Some people will avoid the second one. But for me, I loved that movie. Joker 2 was a movie that was smart. It was layered. It had something to say. Almost every moment of that movie to me was layered with allegory, was layered in commentary, was layered in observation, was layered in thoughts on the human experience. It was ultimately what I said in my Out of the Theater review. The first Joker movie was basically about a broken man in a broken world that doesn't know how to deal with that broken man and how that broken man deals with that broken world. And it made so much social commentary, and it made and on top of it, just gave us rich characters with an incredibly engaging story. And I loved that movie. Hence my excitement for Joker 2. Everything that was good about Joker 1 is completely absent for Joker 2. This is a terrible movie. It's not a disappointment. It's terrible. This is a movie that, number one, had nothing to say. Like, I kept waiting for this movie to say something. Like the first Joker did all throughout it, part of its brilliance. That movie ended, Joker 2 ends, and my first thought is this movie literally, there was no point. The movie is utterly pointless. There's no point to this movie at all. It had nothing to say. There was no observation. There was no commentary. It ultimately, and I want to be careful because I don't want to give away any spoilers because I know there's a lot of you who still want to run out and see it, and hopefully a lot of you like it. You know, I still want people to like movies even if I don't like them. So I'm going to try to make sure I don't give anything away here, but ultimately the movie is just, okay, Arthur, where we left him off at the end of that movie, after we understand his psychosis, after we understand everything he's gone through, after we understand what he did, the movie is just him. Okay, now we pick that up and he's in jail now, and he's got to have a trial. That's the movie. And I got excited when I heard that they were going to do the bold thing of trying to introduce musical elements into the movie. I thought, that's crazy. That's different. And I applaud people taking big swings. I do. I think we should encourage our filmmakers to take big swings. And so Todd Phillips decided, and I really like Todd Phillips, by the way. Doesn't have a great track record with sequels. Hangover 2. Anyway, but I really appreciate that he was going to try to take a big swing with it. Why not? But here's the problem, and I mentioned this in my Out of Theater review as well. When you look at good musicals, let's say The Greatest Showman, when a song comes into the movie, the songs tell the story. Like if you try to go in to watch The Greatest Showman but take the musical numbers out, you're not going to understand the movie. Because the songs, the musical elements, tell the story. Not Joker 2. Mm-hmm. The musical numbers pointlessly just interrupt the story. Like there was not a single musical number in this movie that needed to be there. Every time a musical number started it was, okay, we're telling this story. Now everybody wait, just hold up, you know, like a crossing guard when you're trying to cross the street, just hold up a second, just wait there. We're going to stop the flow of the story so we can do this musical number that doesn't add anything to the movie. All the musical numbers were pointless. They didn't have to, like I said, in Greatest Showman, you take all the musical numbers out, you won't understand that movie at all because the musical numbers tell the story. In Joker 2, you take all the musical numbers out, you probably have a better film. You certainly don't miss anything. There's nothing important revealed, no heart of the characters shown in the musical numbers that aren't already shown through the dialogue. It's just gone. And one of the things that I really love in characters in movies is when they evolve in the movies. It's important to me that a character, when you get to the end of the movie, is a different person in one way or another than what they were at the beginning of the film, right? They go through their own journey and characters go through their own transformations being affected by the journey. Arthur Fleck was the same guy at the end of the film that he was at the beginning. We didn't learn anything more about him. They didn't expand on the brilliant social commentary that we got from the first film. And when I walked out, I went, yeah, this is why they never wanted to do a sequel. This was clearly, I mean, look, we all knew the only reason they made Joker 2 is because the first Joker made $1 billion. And we all know by now that they never intended to do a sequel to Joker. But hey, it made $1 billion. We got to do another one. That's what this movie feels like. It didn't start from a position of we have something to say like the first Joker movie did. It started with, first movie made $1 billion and won Joaquin Phoenix an Academy Award. We better do another one. And I adore Lady Gaga. Pointless.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga! Pointless in this movie. And by the way, and I won't give it away.
Give it away, John. Give it away.
Give it
I
away,
want
give it
to
away,
so
give it away
badly.
now.
All I see is now Flea with his bass. I won't give it away. But they do something at the end of this movie that they thought was so cute and clever and was just stupid.
Ooh.
Like so stupid that it actually undermines part of my enjoyment of Joker 1 as well. Again, I won't say what it is. You'll guys watch it. You'll see what I mean. But again, yeah, this was a movie. It had a start, had a middle, and had an end. And I wish I wasn't there for any of it.
Oh.
It is truly an awful film. Madam Web bad? No. Borderlands bad? No. You still had one of the most gifted performers on the earth right now in Joaquin Phoenix who acted his ass off and
Napoleon bad?
Yes.
On par? And
Yeah,
that's
I'll say Napoleon bad.
those are Phoenix led too.
Dang.
Yeah. I'll say I might even have preferred Napoleon over this movie. Yeah. It's just, it was so utterly again, just to run down the list again, no character development, nothing to say, no point to the whole thing. The music just interrupted the story instead of telling the story. And I didn't feel like we walked out with anything after the movie was done, other than something they tried to do at the end that actually undermined my enjoyment of the previous movies. It's a bad film.
Oh.
And the beautiful thing about film is the subjectivity of it. So I often have movies that I don't like that I see that other people liked. I go, yeah, okay, I get why you liked it. It wasn't for me. Or movies that I loved and other people did. And I go, yeah, I get why you didn't like it. This is one of those examples where it's like, I hated this movie and I don't understand how anybody else didn't hate it. I mean, it's subjectivity of film. I hope other people like it. I want people to like movies, even if they're movies I don't like. But this is one where off the top of my head, I don't understand how other people liked it. And listen, to be fair, the movie's got like the majority of critics like the film. Not a big majority, but like I think it's got like a 62%. So that's pretty okay. But I don't understand what they saw because I thought this was a dreadful, dreadful movie. Yeah.
Is there any, what, acting wise, is there any breakouts in the film that
you know what?
enjoyed?
There's
Let's try to get some.
okay, so obviously there's Joaquin, right? Who's great in it. Lady Gaga's character is terrible.
Ugh.
So I can't judge her on that because she had nothing to work with, right? Nothing to work with at all. So whatever.
It's at 64%, by the way. If
64.
That's what you said.
Donald Gleason's dad.
Brennan?
Brennan Gleeson. He's always money.
Yeah.
He plays the security guard at the prison at Arkham.
He's a
in this.
treasure.
And actually, there's particularly one scene in particular that he has with Joaquin Phoenix. Him and Joaquin share a number of scenes together, and they have a pretty good chemistry together. And he again Brennan Gleeson is great. He's great in it. The guy who played Harvey Dent, not good.
Ooh.
I don't know who it was. I don't recognize the actor, but not a good performance. But again, I don't want to judge him too harshly because he didn't have great material to
Harry
work with.
Lottie is his name.
Sure. I didn't think it was very good.
Sure.
The other inmates, including Arthur's got this one kind of sycophant who's another prisoner in Arkham. Not very good at all. Again, though, didn't have anything to work with. So maybe the kid's a brilliant actor, just not anything good to work with. Girl from 40-Year-Old Virgin and Get Out.
Catherine
main,
Keener?
Catherine Keener?
Catherine Keener.
yeah, Catherine Keener plays his lawyer.
Yeah.
Always gives a good performance.
Always love it.
Yeah.
Being John Malkovich, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's something to be said about the performances in the film.
And one more question.
Yeah.
Let's say you take the movie out and you take all the numbers out.
Yep.
Were the songs any good?
No. Well, I mean, let me rephrase. There's no original songs in it.
Oh,
Right.
there's none.
No, they're not original
They're
songs.
covers.
What
Oh.
Yes,
the
the
world
jukebox
needs
musical.
now is love, sweet
Oh,
love.
okay.
Like, it's all covers, and that's fine. Moulin Rouge is all covers, but they're perfectly used in the places that they're used. Not so much this one.
How was Steve Coogan? Because I really like Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
Which one was Steve Coogan?
Patty Myers. I think he was like a news, like an interviewer or something like
Oh, yes.
He's British.
Yes. One scene.
that. Okay.
That was it. It was one scene, and again, I wouldn't hold it against him because the material was bad. The material was bad.
So this was a money grab, you think? Did it end up looking like?
Well,
does it look-
remember, every movie ever made is
Oh,
a
right,
money
right,
grab,
right,
Yeah.
right? So is Joker 2 a money grab? Yes, but every movie is a money grab. This is a little bit more overtly a money grab.
Yeah, because you said that they didn't want.
Well,
to do a
No,
sequel.
yeah, the plan,
To me,
they were
it's a
never
cynic-
going to make a Joker
It's
2.
about the cynical approach. We only did it to cash in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not
Yeah.
because we thought we had something good.
I'm so disappointed in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
And I say this as somebody who more than most people passionately loved that first Joker. I love. Actually, Ray, can you do me a favor?
Yeah,
Who
sure.
wrote the screenplay for the first Joker?
Okay, got you.
Because I wonder, I can't remember if Todd Phillips wrote the screenplay for the first one or not. But I know he was one of the two screenwriters for the second one.
Todd Phillips.
So he did write the
Scott
screenplay for the first
Silver
one.
and Bob Kane.
I mean, Bob Kane
Well-
didn't write the
Well,
screenplay.
yeah.
Right, but
He's a creator, yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's the opposite of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. How did they go from such a bad season 1 to such an amazing season 2? How did they make such a brilliant, thought-provoking, interesting first Joker and then squat down and crap out Joker 2 like this? I have no idea. Anyway, guys, listen, I want to remind everybody, all films are subjective. Just because I didn't like this movie, and I really didn't like this movie, that does not mean you might not like it. If you've been super interested in going to see Joker, don't get turned off because I didn't like it. Go see it if you're really interested in it, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, drop me a note and let me know why. Because I just didn't see anything redeemable about this movie. Anyway, whatever you guys think about all this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. Again, we reserve the right to not address your comment or question if we don't deem it appropriate for the show. But before we get to those, we're going to take another quick second here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at The Perfect Gene. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Gene. Okay, so I've got to tell you about The Perfect Gene. These jeans are seriously a game changer. You know that feeling you get when you find a pair of jeans that fit so well that you almost forget that you're wearing them? That's what happened when I tried these. I'm not kidding. They're as comfortable as your favorite sweatpants, and they can slide on like them too, but they still look amazing. Look, as guys, we've all suffered through stiff, uncomfortable jeans, but The Perfect Gene is all about recusing, well, your gentlemanly area. These jeans are soft, stretchy, and they fit like they were custom made just for you. Because they've got an insane range of sizes, whether you're a skinny jeans kind of guy or rocking the bigger look. And they didn't just stop with jeans, they've got the perfect tee as well, with just the right amount of stretch to hide that beer belly, but still make you look great. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code Campea15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with the promo code Campea15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show by telling them that we sent you. F your khakis and get The Perfect Gene. And thank you to our friends at The Perfect Gene for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Ozzy Alex with a $20 tip.
Ozzy. Thank you, man. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you, Ozzy.
Hey, gang, just finished watching Transformers 1 and loved it. I laughed during a few action scenes. If you switch the robots out with humans, it would be one of the most violent films I'd seen. No punches pulled. Gotta love the robot violence loophole.
That's the thing, man. I keep telling people, like, you can get away with a lot of horrific violence if you're doing that violence to aliens, robots, or vampires. If you're doing that, you can get away with a lot. Like, there's no movie you could do where one guy picks up a human being and over their head and rips their body in half so their innards start spilling out over the place and not get an R rating. But an Autobot doing it to a Decepticon, that's PG. And you can get away with a lot of that stuff. Yeah. All right. Thank you again, man. Appreciate the support, dude. I like that a lot. And I'm glad you love Transformers 1. I love that movie. It's too bad it's flopping so hard. All right, what's next?
Future Man says, John, I found your show during the Acolyte. See something good did come from it. And I've been trying to watch your old shows talking about my favorite series, The Expanse, but it's hard to dig through your channel to find them. YouTube search doesn't help. Any ideas?
Well, I mean, we never did week-to-week reviews of The Expanse. To be honest, I was late getting on The Expanse. I don't think I started watching The Expanse until it ended its second season. But here's if you go to a YouTube channel's main page, there is an option to search the channel. It's not in the top search bar. If you go down to where it says like videos for you, community, whatever, if you go to the end of it, there should be a little magnifying glass symbol, and that will allow you just to search on that YouTube's channel. So if you do that on mine and search Expanse, you might find some of the stuff that we did on that. But admittedly, we didn't do a lot on it. I love that show, but I was too late to the party on it, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
We got Zolo, who says, I too thought episode 2 of The Penguin would drop in quality. It's so good. Sophia Falcone is a scene stealer in that ending. This should be fun. Gave me chills. Floored by this episode. The writing is the real hero. Wow, wow, wow. Act 1, 2, and 3. This is 10 out of 10.
It's look, there has to be a very intimate relationship between the material and the performer. If you have great material and a terrible performer, it's not going to do much. You can, like Joker shows, if you have great performance, but if you don't have good material, it's not going to work. When you have great material and great performers carrying it out, what Milioti is doing with Sophia Falcone, it's, I said on the show yesterday, Chris, that I don't know that there's a character on television that frightens me more. Mm-hmm. Like, she terrifies me.
Yeah.
That lady terrifies me. And you put that now beside the performance of Colin Farrell. I keep forgetting that's Colin Farrell. Mm-hmm. What the job he's doing, it is with the writing. This is some of the best performances I've seen on television. I mean, it's right up there for me with the performance-wise with Shogun. I put this right up there with Shogun. What are you seeing in it?
I 100% agree. This has been such a good year for TV. Oh my gosh. But this is so good. He is killing it. She is killing it. And they're both so horrible people. Oh God, they're awful people. I love it.
Awful people. And I think John Vidi's going to get something very, very bad done to him.
Oh yeah.
Woo! He's going to get something really bad. I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in House of Cards. He was like Kevin Spacey's main right-hand guy.
Yes, and I could not stand that man. The actor's great.
That's how good
he is,
right? I could not
stand that man. When he came back after second-guessing what he was going to do with that one woman in the desert, I'm like, F you, dude. I hate you now.
He was such a
I only watched the first episode of House of Cards. I hated Kevin Spacey's dialect so much.
Oh,
like,
really?
Just pick one.
You didn't like that southern drawl?
Pick a region.
Pick a region.
It's the easiest dialect.
Come on now,
to
what you
learn.
talking about?
Oh my God. See, you're doing better than him right now.
All right, what's next?
Old Man Rooks says, Chris Christopherson, I remember watching a very strange thriller years ago, The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea. For some reason, that sounds like a Criterion film. Mm-hmm. For some reason, other than Convoy, Blade, Star, this popped right to the front when I heard he passed.
I'm going to be honest, I don't recall that one.
The Sailor Who Fell from
Grace of the Sea?
Wow.
Now I'm going to have to look it up. Thanks for putting it on our radar. All right, what's next?
Okay, another $20 tip from Nate Savage.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Very generous, dude.
Hey, John and crew, I pre-ordered Deadpool and Wolverine on Vudu and saw the special features that there is indeed audio commentary with Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds.
Yay!
I can't wait to watch that. Bring on the filter.
Yeah, thank you for putting that out there, Nate. Like when they made the announcement about when Deadpool and Wolverine was coming, the article gave a big list of what the special features were going to be, and noticeably absent from that list was any kind of audio commentary. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Audio commentary, number one, is the best feature on anything. And number two, it's the easiest and least expensive thing to do. I'm like, why would you not have commentary? I want to hear Ryan and Sean and hopefully Hugh like giving commentary through. That's what I want. So it wasn't on the list, and I was like kind of disillusioned by that. But apparently, yes, it is one of the features on it. So glad it is. Now I'll probably pick, because I wasn't going to buy it. I as much as I love Deadpool and Wolverine, I wasn't going to buy it. But now that I know that commentary is on there, that's worth the price of purchase for me. So I'm going to pick it up. All right, what's next?
David says, hey, John, sorry to hear you didn't like Joker 2. I'm seeing it on Friday. I love the first Joker, but decided to have zero expectations for this new one, considering the eclectic reviews. What did you like less, Joker 2 or Beetlejuice 2?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so this isn't an answer to your question. Let me get to that in a second. I was disappointed more in Joker 2 because I had much higher expectations, right? I had much higher expectations for it. I think Joker 2 might be a little bit better of a movie than Beetlejuice 2. But then again, you got to understand, I dislike Beetlejuice a lot more than most people did. So I wouldn't really take me saying that. I take that with a grain of salt. But it's close. Yeah, the two are very, very close. I'll just say that I was more disappointed in Joker 2. But again, just because I so passionately love the first one. So that's what I'll say. All right, what's next?
Gator says, I may sound crazy, but I hated the wild robot. Never-ending expositions, no subtlety, flat emotional moments, and nonstop messages. I wanted emo crybaby Goose and this contradicting Fox to die. This movie... Are you going through something, Gator? Something going on with you down there in the bayou?
Dang.
This movie is the complete opposite of show, don't tell.
Well, I mean, listen, I can't give commentary on that because I haven't seen the movie yet. Again, the weekend Anne was away. I couldn't see it without her. And then yesterday I went to go see Joker, so couldn't see it yesterday. I can't see Wild Robot tonight because I'm going to go see Hans Zimmer tonight. I'm so excited I cannot believe how excited I am for that Hans Zimmer show. I'm so stoked. So hopefully Ann and I are going to go see the Wild Robot tomorrow. But listen, this is the thing. All film is subjective. Like, again, if you take a look at this, Wild Robot right now has a 98% critic rating.
Jeez.
And just as important, a 98% audience rating.
Gator's probably a 1%er that hated it.
There are some people out there who are even whispering it might be the greatest animated film of all time. Not me. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying. But the great thing about movies is that it hits us all in different ways. And sometimes that means it's going to hit us in a way that's not as good as it hits other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, hey, Wild Robot's not for everybody. And again, hey, 98%, but that means 2% didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you're part of that 2%. Nothing wrong with that. We all have movies that everybody else loved that we didn't. And we all have movies that everybody else hated and we didn't. All of us have those. All of us. And this one is just one for you. So there's nothing wrong with that.
This one's for you.
All right, what's next?
You are. Big says, Astor Bo is afraid. Peele's Nope. Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Garland's Men. Some of my favorite films the last 5 years. I like weird stuff. Saw Megalopolis this weekend. Sadly, it will not be joining that list. It didn't even make that list.
Man, I totally forgot about Beau is Afraid. Yeah, that's another Joaquin movie I didn't like. Again, performance was brilliant. But Joaquin lately's made... When's the last time Joaquin made a movie that I really loved? It might have been Joker. Because I didn't like Beau is Afraid, and I didn't like Napoleon, and I certainly don't like Joker 2. But again, it's not his fault, though. All you can do as an actor is give the best performance you can. Yeah, Nope was another one for me that didn't work. You did like Nope, though, right?
Yeah. It took a while for it to kick in what the what they was trying to do. But yeah, I did like it. It took a night of sleep to actually realize
sleep
what
on it.
the message was.
Yeah, I didn't like it so much. Again, I haven't seen Megalopolis, and you know what? I made the decision I'm not going to go see it.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Because I have so much reverence for Francis Ford Coppola that I don't want to go in and watch a movie that sounds pretty much like, from everybody I'm hearing, I'm probably going to hate. So I would rather just not see it, because you know how I just shit all over Joker 2? I don't want to do that with a Francis Ford Coppola movie.
Sure.
I don't want to come out and have to crap on it. And I have to be honest with my audience, so I'm probably going to take a pass on it. And it made $4 million in its opening weekend, so it sounds like everybody else is taking a pass on it too. All right, what's next?
Matan says, as it's the beginning of Spooky Month, we must appreciate Mike Flanagan getting Stephen King to not be angry about Kubrick's Shining connection in Doctor Sleep. King usually goes on a murderous rampage when mentioning Kubrick, so kudos to Flanagan.
Listen, whenever I talk about like most underrated movies in the world of comic books, Man of Steel, most underrated comic book movie ever made. I also think the first Thor movie is a pretty underrated comic book movie. In general, I think the most underrated movie of all time is Stardust. That should have the same place in our pop culture as Princess Bride. That movie is freaking-tastic. I love Stardust so much. But you know what? Dr. Sleep is another one that I believe is highly underrated. And first of all, terrible title, but John, that's the name of the book. I don't care. You're making a movie. You got to put a title to it. Nobody knew that had anything to do with The Shining. Ewan McGregor gives a great performance in it. A girl from the
Dragon Tattoo.
Nope. She was in the Mission Impossible movies.
Rebecca
Ferguson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson is fabulous in it. Dr. Sleep is such a good movie. And like nobody went to go see it and nobody talks about it. But I'm glad you brought it up, because that's another really underrated film to me. All right, what's next?
Khan says Joker 2, fail at a Joker 2, Folie, Beau is afraid.
Folie, Beau is afraid. Yeah. Again, just movie had no point. It had nothing to say. It just happened. It just happened. And again, the more I think about it, the more angry. You know what? I so want to spoil the ending.
No.
Ooh, I want to spoil because it's so bad.
You can for me when the show's over.
Okay, I will for you
I
when
didn't
the
like
show's
the
over.
first one, which I'm glad it was polarizing. I love that this new one, everyone's like, it was a movie.
I want to spoil the ending so bad. Okay, anyway, what's next?
What's wrong with you?
Anonymous says, a few weeks back, I finished all of Yellowstone and immediately binged 1883 and 1923. After sitting on it for a while, I'll say 83 was my favorite. It was so beautiful and heartbreaking. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw were unbelievable, and as a father, the end destroyed me.
83 was really good. I mean, I still think the main series, Yellowstone, is the best of the bunch. I love Yellowstone. 83 was great. 23, I wasn't really so thrilled with. But yeah, 83 was fantastic. And you're right. The ending is so brutal. It was inevitable. It was an inevitable ending. We all knew it was going that way, but it's still, they did so powerful. And Faith Hill and Tim McGraw did such a good job in that show. It's absolutely wonderful. And I'm finally excited that Yellowstone's finally coming back. Finally. 2 years.
Damn.
And by the way, this is just part 2 of the season. This isn't even 2 years. It's like the season took its mid-season break and it's been 2 years. Granted, a lot of stuff has happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're finally going to get to finish the season. All right, what's next?
Gator's back.
Gator.
Saw The Substance last night. It blew me away. It was incredibly sad while also being hilarious. So many shocking, incredible scenes. Truly unique, one-of-a-kind film. Best movie of the year so far for me. Demi is a front runner for Best Actress. This explains why you didn't like The Wild Robot.
Jeez.
And I hear you should watch it on a nice full stomach.
Or at least be eating while you're watching
Yeah,
it.
definitely be eating. Maybe, preferably sushi.
Scenes
Eating
that
sushi while you're watching. Oh, Chris didn't like that at all.
scenes that Chris will never
I made
see.
Amy spoil it for me. She's
Yeah,
like, you're
'cause you're
never
not
going
gonna
to see
see
this,
it.
right? And I was like, of course I'm never going to see it. And just hearing about the movie, I was like, I want to throw up everywhere.
While it is, I guess you could say it's unique or one of a kind, it definitely borrows from a lot of filmmakers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for this film, this year, I'd say.
All right, what's next?
Jai says, October, the official month of horror. Ghost schools, the undead, eldritch horror, slashers, the monsters old and new. So naturally, we have to ask, what's your favorite sports movie?
Ooh,
That's tough.
Cool
that-
Runnings.
There's so many.
Cool
That's a
Runnings
good
is a
one.
wonderful movie.
It's so good.
Obviously, those of you who know me, right up there is going to be Best of the Best. I love Best of the Best. Mystery Alaska with
Russell Crowe. That was great.
is such a wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it, you definitely got to watch it. Then you get stuff like
The Goon, baby.
The Goon's great.
I know.
I love The
those, like,
Goon.
little small movies. The Goon is pretty good.
The Sandlot has to be up there. I mean, look, I'm sure there's probably about 10 that I'm going to kick myself later for not thinking of off the top of my head. But there are some really, but yeah, man, I think Mystery Alaska might be my favorite sports movie. It's just so fantastic. All right, what's next?
Okay, Luke's I'm going to come back to Luke because I just want to make sure there's no spoilers in it.
Okay.
So let's go with Brandon Salad. Hey, crew, checked out my old ass over the weekend, and wow, this film was a welcome surprise. An excellent slice of life story with great introspective themes and how we choose to live life. Hilarious, shocking, heartwarming, a truly great film of 24.
This is where I get upset about bad marketing. I didn't even know it came out. I love Aubrey Plaza. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I didn't even know it came out. So I have not had a chance to see it yet, but I'm glad to hear the recommendation. So thank you so much for keeping that on the radar and letting me know that it's even out. Yeah, they did not do a good job of making sure there was high public awareness for this. All right, what's next?
Okay, Luke's was fine. So Luke says in a two-parter, well, I also got to see Joker 2 last night. This movie felt like an appendix to the last film on how the first film should have ended. I don't think it really needed to be made. Some of the musical stuff worked, but not all did for me. One of the only things that worked for me was a scene in the courtroom with a guy from the first film. That part did really tug at my heart, but that's about it. Overall, very much a disappointment from the first film. Phoenix still gives a good performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, so look, there's a scene, because there's a quick clip of it in one of the trailers, so this doesn't give anything away. There's a scene in the courtroom where, I forget his first name, but the guy Puddles from the first movie.
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer.
Takes the stand, right? All it did was, hey, here's what happened in the first movie. And listen, that dude, it's the only scene he's in. And his performance in it is great.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it didn't actually do anything. And that's the part that really frustrated me. All right, what's next?
Bricktop says, hey, everyone, DCU timeline question. With this universe being so lived in with old Hal and a seasoned Batman, could you see them doing stories up and down the timeline like an animated Hal Jordan origin show or a Dick Grayson Robin to Nightwing movie? Thanks.
Anything's possible. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard to speculate or forecast what they'll do with this universe when we literally have not had the first thing come out about it yet. Like, let's watch Superman first. Let's see that, get kind of a sense for what James Gunn wants to do this in this world and in this universe. Then we can start theorizing. Look, all the things you're mentioning are totally things they could do if they wanted to. I personally hope they don't. Like, what I don't want them to do is make the same mistake Disney did when they first got Star Wars, which was when Disney first got Star Wars, I knew immediately this was a bad idea. They came out and announced, from now on, everything is canon. Every comic book you read, every video game you play, every novel that comes off of Barnes & Noble's shelf, every movie you watch, every TV show on Disney Plus, even though Disney Plus wasn't a thing yet, everything is canon. And I immediately said, oh no, that's never going to work. They're never going to be able to stick that. And sure enough, it very quickly, you started to see the cracks. Very quickly. And I'll never forget this. I think it was Pablo Hidalgo was the guy who I said, because it's quickly started to become clear. Wait a minute. In this new novel, it says this, but that contradicts what it says in this. So what is it, canon or not? And Pablo Hidalgo made the comment. I think it was, forgive me if I'm quoting the wrong guy, but I think it was Pablo. I could be wrong. Who said, well, yeah, everything in the book is canon except for the things that aren't. What the hell does that mean? And sure enough, pretty quickly you started to notice that now they don't say that anymore. They no longer say everything is canon. And what I don't want James Gunn to do is to make that same mistake and just say, and he has kind of hinted that this is what they're doing. And I think it's a mistake to say that everything we're going to do now is all canon with itself. And they're never going to be able to stick that. It's well-intentioned, all that kind of stuff. They're never going to be able to stick that. And I hope that he understands that and learns that and moves away from it. But we'll see. Right now, dude, everything's on the table. Everything's a possibility. But let's see what we actually think they're going to do after we see Superman. All right, what's next?
We got Matt Delaney says, hey, John, 2 years ago, a movie adaptation of the video game It Takes Two was announced, but we haven't heard any updates since. Do you think the movie's still getting made?
Here's the thing. I try to remind everybody this a lot, is that for every 100 movies that they decide they want to do, maybe 4 get made. And so I have not heard a single thing. It's too bad, because It Takes Two, number one, is a fabulous game. Number two is one of those rare games that I think would make an incredible movie. I mean, just follow the story of that would make an incredible movie. That's a Pixar movie right there. But if you can do it live action, great. I haven't heard a single thing about it. Now, that just because we haven't heard anything, that doesn't mean that things aren't happening behind the scenes. But as of right now, I haven't heard another thing about it. But I hope it does get made someday. All right, what's next?
Brian Stringham says, hey, John and crew, if you love watching cooking food channels, my strongest recommendation is Kanan Badalan, an Azerbaijan chef, farmer, and family man, best known for his homemade recipes. Please check him out after the show and enjoy.
Never heard of him.
Me neither.
Is he on the Food Network?
I think he's
maybe it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just a YouTube. Yeah, a lot of food channels on YouTube, but I do get a kick out of them. So I'll definitely keep my eye open for that one. Thanks for the recommendation. All right, what's next?
All right, Bry Guy says, hey, Chris, how about Vivzy Pop here doing a reimagining of Peter Pan, John and Ray as brother-in-laws and BFs? What are your favorite activities you guys like to do for fun? Was that one question? Yeah. Hi, Jonathan. Hope you're having a good day so far. Take care. I'm very tired because I was out late last night.
I'll be on. There's not a look. I think Ray is at my house 5 hours a day. The thing we do most together is when it's not family stuff, is watching the marquee shows. So like he'll come over when the big shows are on, watch some UFCs. And lately it's going to the casino. That seems to be the big thing, but there's not
free drinks.
But
and
well, you get some free drinks
and ice cream.
Free drinks and ice cream at the casino. But it's not like, hey Ray, let's go throw the ball around.
My God.
Hey John, want to have a catch?
Want to have a catch? Yeah, let's go and
hey John,
let's take the frisbee out in the backyard.
Get Batman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so there's that. Oh, and of course, when Ray comes over to cook, those are my favorite days.
Yeah.
Now we'll often try to combine that with the sporting events or with the premiere shows that we like to watch. Because he'll, like, sometimes when there's a big show or a big event, like a big UFC or something, he'll come over early and barbecue in the backyard. Those are good days.
Yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
I made my first attempt. I think that it's called honey cake. It's like Armenian.
Ooh.
Or like I've added. I'm going to bring some in tomorrow. It's really, really good.
I mean, now that I think about it, when's the last time you came over and barbecued?
Oh, yeah, today. I guess if that's what you're saying.
Man, he doesn't let anything slide.
All right, what's next?
Drinking out of that cheeseburger. Scooby Drool with a $30 tip.
Thank you, Scooby. That's incredibly generous, man.
Hi, John and Happy Crew. This past weekend, there was news that DC is doing a Bane and Deathstroke team-up movie. It's a great idea for a DC movie in James Gunn's DCU, or a stupid idea. Oh, is it a great idea for a DC movie in James Gunn's DCU, or a stupid idea? Thoughts?
Yeah.
Ma-
So
Is it
okay.
animated?
No.
No.
Well, not that I'm aware of. I saw the headline and I read that briefly. I don't think anybody's confirmed this. I could be wrong about that. I mean, I just don't know the validity of it. I know it was one of the major trades that reported it. I do know that. But I don't know if it was like one of those things that is something that they're thinking about, or that they're going to be in a movie, but it's not going to be a Bane, Deathstroke, Buddy Road movie. I don't know because I haven't read into it enough yet. So did you hear about this, Chris?
No.
Yeah. So, but I haven't heard James Gunn talk about it. So I don't know if that's actually happening.
I saw the headline and was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not really much to go off of. Like, yeah, those are two characters.
All right. What's next?
We got Bry Guy says most anticipated movie that's coming out in November. It's on the 22nd. Is Netflix's The Piano Lesson. Do you plan on watching it, John and friends?
I haven't heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I have heard of it, but I can't remember exactly what it is. I remember.
Yeah, I don't pay a lot of attention to Netflix films because 98% of them are hot garbage. But every once in a while, there's that 2% that they put out a really good one. It's true. But Netflix does such a terrible job of marketing their own content. Yeah, I haven't heard of this one yet, to be honest with you.
Follows the lives of the Charles family as they deal with the themes of family legacy and more in deciding what to do with their heirloom, the family piano.
This is the one that has John David Washington and Denzel Washington both
Oh,
in it.
And Samuel Jackson.
That one.
Yeah.
That's a Netflix movie?
Yeah.
Netflix.
That's disappointing to me. Now, I totally know the movie you're talking about now, but I didn't realize that was going to be a Netflix movie. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
but
based on the
yes,
August Wilson
I'm definitely going to watch that. 100% I'm going to watch it, but it's too bad it's a Netflix film. All right, what's next?
Okay, either Scooby Drool is Bry Guy one and the same, or they've been hanging out. Scooby Drool says a reboot remake of Ghost Rider, a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow, a sequel to Alita Battle Angel. Oh, I see what he's saying.
Oh,
He's not giving us a premise here.
Yeah.
A reboot remake of Ghost Rider, a reboot remake of Edge of Tomorrow, a sequel to Alita Battle Angel, or a live action Justice League Dark film. Which of these choices? I'm going with Edge of Tomorrow.
Easily Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, but I want a Justice League Dark
Oh yeah,
film.
I do too.
Oh,
But I don't really think there's going to be a lot of people that'd be interested in it.
Well,
I
that's
think
gonna
there would
me.
be. Okay, well, let me have it, please. Okay. Me and Ray want. Yeah. We want a John Constantine and Zatanna movie.
I
want
guess it all depends on who would be a part of it, who would be writing it, who would be directing me.
Let me be Zatanna.
But like with Edge of Tomorrow, we know who the director is, who the stars would be. We already got the first movie.
But we've had it. We've had one at least.
Yeah, but it was so good. We need a second one. We need a second one.
Yeah, sorry guys, you don't get your wish.
By the
I
way,
never
just
do.
just a little trivia for everybody. The reason we don't have an Edge of Tomorrow 2 right now is because of Mary Poppins. I forget who the director was.
Of Mary Poppins?
No, the director of Edge of Tomorrow. I think
that's
Doug Liman, wasn't
Roadhouse
it?
guy. Yeah, Roadhouse guy, Doug
Yeah.
Liman. He was my director in Jumper.
Roadhouse boy.
So Lyman and Tom Cruise
Look at me.
had their idea for Edge of Tomorrow 2, and they lined up their schedules, and there's like, all we need now is Emily Blunt. And they reached out to Emily and they said, we think we've got it. We think we got our window. What do you think about shooting Edge of Tomorrow 2 in this window? And she had to go, guys, I literally just signed my contract to do Mary Poppins, and it overlaps that. And so they went, all right, I guess we'll get around to it later. And it never happened. And what really makes that suck is that Mary Poppins didn't end up being any good. So yeah, the reason we don't have an Edge of Tomorrow tour today is because of Mary Poppins. There you go. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says this morning my toddler wanted to watch the Oogie Boogie song, so we watched part of Nightmare Before Christmas. Here I am reading that Ken Page passed away today.
Yeah.
Oogie
Yeah.
Boogie is one for the ages. What a voice. Sad he's gone. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I read that, and man, it seems like this week,
Yeah, man, it's especially
like even in the sports world, like Pete Rose, Matumbo, in the entertainment world. I mean, it's been a bad week.
It's been a rough Broadway week because Ken Page and then Gavin Creel as well, who are both mainstays.
And I don't mean this as a joke, but for a lot of people who watch a lot of reality television and these shows on these networks, because a lot of people watch it. But the guy from Pickers, what was that? American Pickers? Is that what it was called?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like that was a hugely watched show. I guess one of the main guys from
Frank
that.
Fritz,
Yeah, he just passed away as well.
Oh.
And we're going to talk about it more tomorrow, but we read during one of our breaks that John Amos passed away too. Reason we're not diving into that right now because I want to do it properly. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So I don't want to do just a quick thing on John Amos passing, so we're going to do that tomorrow. All right, what's next?
Okay, Jai CSC forever. As I do when I'm homesick, I start crossing a TV series from the backlog list. So last week I started oh man, good stuff. Only Murders in the Building. It's a delight. I'm also a little jealous of it. Years ago I wrote my own murder mystery story. I wish it was this good.
Aw.
Only Murders in the Building is
I'm loving
so
season 4.
good.
Oh, good.
It's so I have not started properly watching the new season, but I've just like when I'm sitting down having dinner with Anne and she's got it on, I've caught, but it's the little bits I've seen of this season is so good.
You know what I love about
great.
this season? And I was like, well, I don't know. Is this going to trail off? Is that, and I really appreciate it. This season, they're actually not just bumbling. They've actually become proficient at being investigators. They've applied everything they've learned. So they're quick to spot things or look for things. And I'm loving that.
All right, what's next?
Joel Acevedo says, hey, John, hope all the family and friends are well and healthy. Hope your mom is doing great. I'm getting married this
Oh,
weekend.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm surprised I'm getting married after I forced my fiance to watch Moonfall. But it's happening.
Hey, listen, if she will stick with you through that,
Yeah.
then you've probably got a good future ahead of yourself.
But you owe her one.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I still think you got
Congratulations.
snubbed for comedy of the year.
Comedy of the
Got
year.
snubbed.
Oh,
Moonfall.
Moonfall.
My God, I still
It
can't
was
believe how
Rob's
bad
fault.
Wasn't I sitting with you, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
you were so mad the whole time. It was great.
The movie was so bad.
John just kept he was folding into himself like a dwarf star collapsing, and it was great. He just would be like, "This is so stupid. This is so stupid."
Yeah.
So bad.
1 out of 10 movie, 10 out of 10 P. Willie, baby.
He really
Willie.
was so committed. Oh my gosh, he gave it his all.
He did.
All right, what's next?
Okay, Joel is back. We're going to Rome for the honeymoon.
Nice.
And
Ooh.
Florence and Venice. I love all three of those cities. I will I will be tuning in to the channel from over there every day, hopefully. My future wife doesn't start hating you because I'm always listening to the podcast. Hey, give your wife and give Italy its due. Just watch us like right before bed or something.
Forza
my gosh.
Italia.
Yeah. Florence is beautiful.
Do you know how many times, like serious, it's crazy how often this happens, where I'll have somebody come up to us, like Ann and I will be at a movie or at Universal, and someone come walking up to us and say they watch the show, and it's always great when they do, and like they'll have their wife there, and they'll
they're just
go,
mad dogging you.
like either looking at me like you take up so much of my husband's time, or it's like, oh, I know your voice so well. Like what?
Freaking
I
hate
know that
you.
laugh anywhere.
Yep.
I
It's
freaking
like,
hate you.
I literally had somebody come up to us in a restaurant. Like this was just a few weeks ago. We were in a restaurant and a guy came over and introduced, and we took a picture and everything. And he said, I didn't know you were here, but my wife heard your voice and said, I know that voice. I think that John Campea is here somewhere. And then it's like someone over. So it's always crazy when you get to anyway. Have an awesome weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful honeymoon
Yes, sir.
in Italy, where my roots come
gosh,
from.
yeah.
And have a great time, man. And thank you.
Florence
We hope
is
you
stunning.
enjoy.
Get some really cool leather work there. And when you are in Venice, do yourself a favor and go to the Murano Glass Factory. It is so beautiful. It is so wonderful. And you can go see glass being blown, and it's incredible artistry.
And get gelato in every city because
Yes.
oddly enough, every city has its own little flair of gelato.
Absolutely.
Oh, and
I
before
thought you said lotto. Like
the,
lotto
get the
ticket?
lotto.
No.
Before you
The
go,
gelato.
Stanley Tucci has a show
The
right
Tucci.
now.
Yes.
Two-
On,
Yeah.
what's it called? Eating Italy or what's
Tasting Italy?
Tasting Italy. Anyway,
like that.
it's a whole food show, but it's just about him going around Italy and eating in great places. find some places he talks about in those cities and see if you can stop by one or two of them because they all look so good. All right, what's next?
Benji Worldwide. Sup, homies? I loved Rings of Power 2. Sauron is low-key my favorite character. My theory for the Stranger is that it is a swerve. It's not Gandalf, it's Saruman. After all, Saruman was more powerful than Gandalf. Maybe he got that from Tom Bombadil. It could be Saruman.
It could be.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Because Saruman, though, doesn't even take note of the hobbits, much like Sauron doesn't. They don't see the point of them. They don't acknowledge them. So they have this lovely relationship with Nori, and then they're like, well, fuck these guys. No, it's Gandalf. It's Gandalf, and I'm mad. All right?
It is most probably Gandalf. But, I mean, who's to say it's not Radagast?
It could be Radagast.
Right? Radagast. I mean, so it could be. Remember, there were several. How many of them were there? Were there 6?
Oh, of the Maiar that came? Or the Istar, I guess?
The Istar, yeah.
Yes, I think there were 6 of them.
Well, you got what?
Because there's the 2 of them that are blue that we never really get much of. So, I mean, it could, but it is most likely Gandalf, but it is possible they could throw us a curveball and have it be Saruman. It would be interesting because, like, let's say Nori has to do something that there's a misunderstanding and the stranger thinks she betrayed him or something like that, and maybe that. I don't know.
But then why would they never take note of those tricksy little hobbitses?
Yeah.
They're just like, man, I knew one of those once, and they're such bitches.
Never understood your love of the halfling leap.
Maybe
Right?
maybe Saruman's just an incel who's like, I knew this girl once who was a real dick, and now I hate everyone from there.
Could be. All right, what's next?
Saruman is an incel. JCSC and Robin. If DC Studios were in a position to take a risk on a Batman movie without Bruce as Batman, I'd rather see it done as Dick Grayson over a Batman Beyond story. I'd say that it has more potential than a BB movie, but that's still tiny target audience. You'd have to explain why. I mean,
it would have vastly more potential.
Yeah.
Because the general public, they may not know him as Batman, but they know
Robin
Grayson.
and Dick Grayson.
They know Richard Grayson.
What was it? What was that run? Something the cow, like inheriting the cow or something the cow when Batman was gone for a while, and they like it was
Nightfall.
Well, it might have been part of Nightfall, but it was something the cow. Now I can't think of it. I'll look it up.
A couple iterations.
Here's an interesting little tidbit too. In DC Comics right now, Nightwing is the leader of the Justice League.
Oh, they're saying Battle for the Cowl.
Yeah, Nightwing, not Superman, not Wonder Woman, not Batman. Nightwing right now is the leader of the Justice League, and they all look to him. So they're doing a lot of stuff with Dick Grayson right now. And again, I'm not saying a Dick Grayson Batman movie would be better. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it would have more potential, particularly with the audience, I think. All right, what's next?
Jack Marius Theratrix. The legendary horror author Junji Ito's Uzumaki just premiered its first episode and was so creepy. Really cool blend of 2D and CGI, looks great and really makes your skin to crawl. Japanese horror is crazy, man.
Do me a favor, guys, too. When you have these recommendations that you send in, when you send in a recommendation like this one, please include where it can be found. Because, not surprisingly, I've not heard of this particular title, but it would be great if I would then instantly know where it could be seen. And not just for me, for our viewers too. Like, you're writing in some people write in some great recommendations, but they don't see where it is. So, some people are saying it's on Max, some people are saying it's in Prime, some people are saying it's on Netflix. Like, there doesn't seem to be any agreement in the live chat. Now it seems most people are saying Max, so maybe it's on Max. So that's a good place. But just for future reference, when you write in these great recommendations, make sure you try to include where it comes from as well. All right, what's next?
Matan, the reaction for the elongated the critic gag Joker 2 Folie à Deux seems really dim, as it's the first big project ordered under Zaslav, and it was announced a few days after the axing of Batgirl, which paints a bad picture on Zaslav's decision making. I think doing
Joker 2? Oh, God, no. I mean, look, as much as I don't like Joker, everybody agreed they needed to do a second one.
Yeah, after that.
Right? The first one. I mean, everybody.
Well, financial. We're talking about financial.
Yeah, the
business.
movie made.
Some of us rewrote that ending where he died, so
If
we
you
never have to
suddenly-
see it
if you
again.
suddenly got
It
a billion,
made
you'd be like, we
over
should do this some
$1
more.
billion. It won Academy Awards. There is no studio on the planet that would not have pushed through a green light for a Joker 2. None. There is not a single movie executive on the planet that wouldn't have pushed that through. Now, look, I was on record. You can go back and watch videos. I said they shouldn't do a Joker 2. They always said it was going to be a one-shot. The thing is done. Blah, 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 blah. But even I had to go after it was all said and done and it won Academy Awards. Even then I went, yeah, even I would have to say you have to greenlight a sequel. You have to. You don't blame the studio executives when the filmmakers don't deliver. I mean, this was one of those no-brainer decisions. Again, not Universal, not Lionsgate, not Disney, not Paramount, not Sony. There is not a single studio that if they did the first Joker movie would not have pushed through a green light on the second. Everyone would have done it. And that's coming from a guy who hated this movie. But yeah, there's that. All right, what's next?
Tron says Box Office Pro reports that early tracking for Venom is between 80 and 120 million opening weekend.
That high?
Let's go.
Are you surprised by these numbers, and do you think it can get higher? Also, tickets for Venom are on sale.
No way.
What did
I can't believe it's that high. Ray, can you be fair? What was the opening weekend for Venom 2?
I got you.
I'll be honest. If I had to just in a vacuum take a wild guess, because again, remember, even I say Venom 2 wasn't as good as the first Venom. So it's on a, what's that?
That's really good. 90.
It made 90?
Yeah, man. It's Venom, baby.
I would have guessed Venom 3 would open with 50 million. Which is, I mean, huge compared to a lot of movies that are coming out. 80 to 100?
It's the Last Dance.
All right, yeah, I guess we'll see. I hope it does. Anyway, all right. That's crazy to me. That's a lot bigger of a number than I thought. All right. What's next?
Mr. I says, in my best Homer Simpson voice, I think you mean in my best Homer Simpson voice, Joker Folia. If had to rank them, how do you rank Madam Web, Borderlands, and Joker 2? I think he did that above those.
Yeah. Listen, again, I don't think Joker 2 is Madam Web bad. It's just bad. And it's just, it irks me more because I had much higher expectations for it, and it came off such a brilliant first movie. So yes, Joker 2 is better than Madam Web, and it's better than Borderlands, but not by a ton. Yeah, so that's, Joker above both of them. All right, what's next?
All right, Mr. I follows up. Maggie Smith, Chris Christopherson, John Ashton, Dikembe Mutombo, and now Pete Rose and John Amos. I know I'm missing some. Rest in peace to all.
Yeah, again, what a rough couple of days. Mm-hmm. What an absolute rough couple of days. And look, I'm going to go on record and say this, not that a lot of you care. If, Filthy Sports was starting its podcast today, I would talk about this. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. All right. He didn't cheat to get his numbers. He didn't break any rules to get his numbers. Did he do some things he shouldn't have done, like with the gambling, stuff like that? Yes, but none of it impacted his performance. He hit those numbers. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Anyway. All right. What's next?
CM Waters says Regal offers 3,000 credits and a 30-day trial to DC Universe Infinite for seeing Joker 2 3 times on the same day. And you and the rest of the world dub the film as utter garbage. To quote the teacher from The Incredibles, coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
Man, so you got to do that 3 times, huh?
I mean, I've been saying for half a year when people are saying Joker 2 is going to be $1 billion film. I'm saying, no, it's not. It's as much as I was looking forward to, it's not. You knew Megapolis was in real trouble when, like, 2 weeks before the movie came out, they started giving tickets away. Remember we talked about that? They were literally giving tickets away. Yet you're right. These types of promos are telling me that they know they're not going to get the numbers that they're hoping for. And listen, I actually still think Joker's going to have a pretty good opening weekend. I think it is. I think it's going to have a 60+% drop off going into week 2, but I think it's going to have a pretty good opening weekend because if it wasn't for the fact that I just went yesterday, I would have been there opening weekend. So let's see what it can do. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, "Hi John, it's been 2 weeks since I closed my coffee house. I'm still wallowing because I love that place, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Any sage advice for someone who's crashed and burned hard, has no clue what to do next, and scared of not knowing?"
Well, I mean, first of all, Anonymous, you have to cut yourself some slack. Like I forget the exact numbers, but I'm going to roll although I know it's a little different, but I'm going to roll your coffee house into restaurants in general. The percentage of restaurants and eateries and things that close within the first year is astronomically high, right? Like you swung for the fences in that. I've actually got a really good friend of mine who owned a coffee shop. Remember, we filmed some of my movie at his coffee shop. Right. That also closed down and whatever. It's a big risk. It's incredibly rewarding if it worked, but you took a swung, it didn't work. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself about that. It's a very, very tough business to get into. I happen to be a guy that has switched careers several times and gone in different directions, right? I thought I was destined to follow in my dad's footsteps and work in engineering and construction. So very early, I pivoted from that. I then thought I was going to be a lifelong theologian. I still kind of am a bit of a theologian, but I mean, I definitely took a different direction from that. Then I was working in the visual effects industry for a number of years. And then I detoured from that. Then I went into law. And then I thought that was going to be my lifelong thing until my little hobby website, the Movie Blog, took off. And then I pivoted into movie punditry. So I'm somebody who has, over the course of my years, I've pivoted lots of times. There are always new opportunities. There are always new directions to go. Never be afraid to step out of the boat. And I think, don't look at it as crash and burn and whatever. Okay, yeah, that happens. One chapter closes, the next one opens. There's what excites you? What intrigues you? What gets your blood going? This is a great opportunity to try something completely brand new. So I would encourage you to do that if you have the chance. All right, what's next?
We got, I just lost it. Filthy Part 2 says, "Hey, JCS crew, been watching since AMC days. With all this diddy doo-doo happening, how long before we see a Netflix movie about Mr. Combs?" There are documentaries. There's like the downfall of Diddy.
There was just a big headline that 50 Cent is going to be producing a literal docuseries on it already. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fast. And you know, here I want to say this. Right now, I see there's a big witch hunt going on right now about anybody who even used to associate with Combs. Like I read this article today that right now Leonardo DiCaprio is facing backlash because he used to go to some of his parties. I bet everybody used to go to his parties. I mean, I never got invited. That's fine. I'm not bitter. But I think just because somebody used to go to somebody's parties doesn't mean they participated in the illegal stuff that guy used to do.
Right.
Yeah. You don't know till you know.
But yeah, I think it's already in motion. It's already in motion. The stuff, the deals are being signed, pre-production's already being done. They are moving fast on this. I wouldn't be surprised if we had like a movie out before a trial even happens. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, what's next?
We got Forbidden can't wait for Andy Serkis to return to the MCU.
He's not. Did I miss something?
Maybe just in general.
First of all, he was great in Black Panther. I wish they didn't kill his character off. I don't know, maybe they'll bring him back in Secret Wars or something, but he was great. But unless I missed something, like guys, I don't think anybody in the live chat is saying anything, but I would have loved it if he did some more. Is that it?
We got a couple more.
All right,
we have two more. Old time hockey. Watched Inside Out 2 on Disney Plus last weekend. Brilliant. Never felt more like hugging an animated character like Riley was having a panic attack. Great hockey scenes too, except for the penalty for Riley at the end. She had the puck.
By the way, that's a nice Slapshot reference for the username there. It's an old Paul Newman movie. Anyway, I've just run out of things to talk about how great Inside Out 2 is. I like everything from wonderfully just purely entertaining to deeply thought-provoking to nostalgia eliciting to like everything themes from people who are younger and older and all that kind of stuff. They just hit it on all cylinders. And the fact that it is now officially the highest grossing animated film of all time. Like, Chris, I know both you and I were like really excited to see a new one, but in your wildest dreams, did you think it would become the highest grossing animated film of all time? Because I certainly did not.
No, absolutely not. A sequel? No.
Yeah.
It was great, though. It deserves it.
All right, what's next?
Last one. Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Rest in peace, America's dad, John Amos, from adult Kunta Kinte to Coming to America to Fresh Prince, such a legend. But he was always, he will always be the dad in good times. He was incredibly imposing yet funny dad. You can't help but love. Do you have a favorite role? We'll talk about this more tomorrow, but we can touch on it.
Yeah, hold on a second. I want to get, because it's Fitzgibbons. Yeah, he was, my favorite role of his was Admiral Fitzwallace on West Wing. I can't remember how many episodes he was in, like 10 or whatever, but he always had this amazingly, incredibly powerful, commanding presence, which I think he was the chief, Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was like this big dude, so he should carry that presence. But I used to love him in the West Wing. There's this pivotal episode in the West Wing where the president and Leo McGarity as chief of staff, like they're wrestling with the idea that they figured out this one guy was the main terrorist behind some major attacks. And he's a foreign diplomat. And they found out he's actually a terrorist. And he's coming to the United States on a diplomatic visit. Like he doesn't know that everybody, that the president knows that he's actually a terrorist. And they're debating whether or not to assassinate him. And there's this incredible scene that happens in the war room between Leo McGarity and Fitzwallace, played by John Amos, where John Amos's character is really pleading the case that they need to take this guy out. He's saying, and he says to Leo, says, "Do you even know when we're in wartime or peacetime now? I don't know it anymore." And he does this big speech called the "I have an enemy to kill" speech, where he says, "Now I have an enemy that I can kill." Like it's so in a show that is all powerful moments, West Wing, he gave some of the best. And so even though he had all these iconic roles and all this kind of stuff, I will always remember him most for West Wing. Chris, do you have something that you think of when you think of John Amos? Again, I don't want to go too deep into it because we'll want to cover it more tomorrow. But is there a quick one that comes to you first when you think of him?
Good Times reruns on Nick at Night.
A lot of people on that. Yeah. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Just a reminder to all you guys watching the show right now who also happen to be sports fans, jump on YouTube and search for Filthy Sports. Just go on there. We are going to be starting our own. Can you bring up that image, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Or you might have taken it down already, but search for Filthy Sports.
There we go.
Go and subscribe to the channel today. We're going to be starting our new podcast over there on Monday to go along with our movie podcast here on the John Campea channel. And we hope you guys will join us. So for everybody in the room, Ray Ora.
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys.
Chris Carr.
Bye, y'all.
My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.